All right. What is up, people? Welcome. Another episode of the number one podcast. I am your host, Coach Jake. Hope you guys are doing good today. Hit me up in the chat. Give me a number one. Just give me a roll call, where you're calling from, all that kind of stuff. Just wanted to say hey to you guys. I know that I have been super slammed, super busy. It has been a ridiculous thing, man. I've been winning like crazy, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. We got a lot of news coming up. First and foremost, Shoot Pro Wrestling is back. Pat Miletich is on board. He is the president of Shoot Pro Wrestling. We will be in North Dakota, August 31st. We are having one hell of a match. I would like everybody that's in the area to show up. You got any questions, any comments, please let me know. That is what I am here to talk about. All things in the universe that I'm working on. Hope you guys are doing good. What else is cooking? I just got a deal. We're going to be in Missouri helping a group of sheriffs out there for a weekend. We got a 3-day deal showing people the scientific wrestling approach to arrest and control using pinning, not choking, not punching, not shooting, pinning to control people, low liability for law enforcement. Super excited about that. What else is cooking? Things are going good in my 10X business coaching. I just got, I don't know if I told you guys, but I was the number one coach in the elite coaching program for Uncle G, Grant Cardone. Super excited about that. In addition, also got a promotion. So very excited about that on the advisory board of the coaching now. Anyway, I wanted to get to this idea of what I call the domination mindset. And I'm actually going to go to the etymology dictionary, the online dictionary for online, and it's really great. And I want to type in the word dominate and give you what etymology is: the history of the meaning of a word. Okay, and I like to do that because I think there's a lot. Sometimes definitions change over time, and I think there's a lot of kind of magic in understanding the history of the meaning and the definition of a word. Now, dominate comes from 1610s, means to rule over or control by mastery. Okay, a back formation from domination, or else from Latin dominatus, past participle of dominare, which made or to govern, from dominus, which means lord or master, from domus, which is house, meaning have chief influence over or effect on, from 1888. Okay? Intransitive sense of predominate or prevail is from 1816. So what is that mindset? What is the mindset to control by mastery? Now, what do we talk about here? On this podcast, we talk about business and we talk about combat sports. How many of you guys, show of hands or give me a number one in the chat, how many of you guys were able to watch the Craig Jones Invitational this weekend? I thought they did a great job. I do have my critiques of the event. Again, I think from a grappling perspective, this event was a move in the right direction. I think objectively speaking, it is better than Abu Dhabi. I think they got something like 1.2 million viewers on day one. So that's pretty easy to quantify. I have not seen the stats from Flow, but I know that it's not anywhere near that. Flow is who distributes the Abu Dhabis. Anyway, the rule set and the weird beveled karate combat ripoff floor, I kind of liked it. I thought it was good. I thought the booking was really good. They had a lot of chances. They booked a lot of high level wrestlers. I think that it's a bit of a scam a little bit. Like, you can look at somebody like Jason Nolf, who came in, and I think Bo Nickel made this point the best. Nolf entered in as a wrestler, not familiar with the rule set. I think he might have done submission grappling for a year, maybe two, and he's in there with going toe to toe with like the Rotolo brothers and holding his own until the last minute. Okay, like unbelievable, great job. I don't see anybody from jiu-jitsu being able to do that in wrestling, crossing over to a different sport and doing so good at a high level so quickly with very little sport specific training. That said, my criticisms of the event, I wrote about this on my socials, so you may have seen it on Facebook or Twitter. Um, Give me your dog a dirty Sanchez. I have no idea who Last Thought is. Oh, and somebody's trying to reach me about my car's extended warranty. Fantastic. So these are the fantastic comments so far, guys. Please bomb these guys. Give me some better commentary than this. Anyway, I think that the problem is that Craig Jones did not solve the spectator sport problem. I don't see the Craig Jones Invitational really take off as a spectator sport. I also, from a business perspective, I'm curious how the return on investment is going to play out. There was a huge outlay. I think what Craig Jones did is he came in and he did a really good job at presenting a new sport, a new rule set that would appeal to grapplers, because we know that wrestlers are just like wrestlers sniffed some money on MMA, entered and dominated. Wrestlers are now sniffing money in professional grappling, and they're entering and they're dominating. It's just the beginning. It's a foregone conclusion. We've seen it play over, history repeating over and over again. But this said, he really took care of the athletes. He made sure, I mean, it was like $10,000 to show, below 80 kilo, above 80 kilo. There was like $1 million prize for those two divisions. Really, really great stuff that he did. But I still don't think, I'm just telling you, if my mom or my daughter or even my wife went to the show, they'd probably be scrolling their phone because it would have been boring to people who are not knowledgeable or participants in grappling. I don't think he made it into a spectator sport. It was way better than anything I've seen so far. So kudos in that regard. But I do think that Shoot Pro Wrestling holds that recipe. It's a simple recipe. It's not a secret. I think it's the pin. Everybody dances around it. In fact, I make a strong case that Craig Jones is a closeted catch wrestler. I made this post. I guess I could read it to you. Basically, it's not just because he wears Speedos like pro wrestlers. That is part of it. But or that he promotes intergender matches to sell, like he did with Gabby Garcia. Andy Kaufman doing this 30, 40, 50 years ago or whatever. What I see, though, is I see him saying just stand up, which is a complaint that wrestlers have had about these guard players. About pinning, he has a whole instructional. I see his very Kazushi Sakuraba's first instructional of BJJ Fanatics is called Anti-Jiu-Jitsu. And who is his uke? Craig Jones. So, I mean, I love what he's doing. I think he needs to stop calling it Plan B Jiu-Jitsu and maybe start calling it Plan C catch wrestling. That's just my idea. But Shoot Pro, I'm so excited. We've done the minimum viable products, the MVPs. We've got the 3 of them. We're out shopping. And then we are going to be out in North Dakota at the casino putting on a match. Brandon Riggins is going to be in the match. We're working right now to confirm. I just want to make sure that we have it before I announce it. All the participants. But anyway, it's going to be fantastic. But I want to talk about this domination mindset, right? Because, CJI, Craig Jones Invitational, was this weekend. So was Abu Dhabi's. So you had Craig Jones on one end, and then you had Gordon Ryan on the other. And, catch wrestling has this reputation for being a community full of very contentious people that all argue and the community can't grow because everybody is always infighting and whatnot. And maybe there's some truth to that. And I'm guilty of partaking in that more so in my youth than nowadays. I think that I evened out a little bit in my old age. However, we see this playing out between Gordon Ryan and Craig Jones. Craig Jones leaked some DMs, some private messages. I mean, ethics of that notwithstanding. I mean, I think if you're I think you got to be careful because anybody could take your private conversations and post them like this happened. And this was pretty rough. Now, mind you, how is this relevant? This is the domination mindset. This is being competitive. This is being a killer, being a predator, like a alpha, like predator, like a cat, like a jungle cat, right? So I think that we have to be careful that this is I've seen this happen in wrestling over and over, where it ends up people are so competitive it becomes like this crabs in a bucket thing where nobody wants to let the other person rise. Nobody wants to let the other person when sometimes a raising tide lifts all the boats, right? And one of the things I think that they learned in pro wrestling is that you need to learn to put over your opponent. Smarter fighters do this because if you talk shit on some guy and you say, "Oh, this guy's a joke," and blah blah, and you beat him, big deal. You're right, he was a joke. But if you blow him up and make him out to be a killer, and then you beat him, then you're the guy who beat a killer, right? So I think there's a little bit of savviness that might need to go into this, a little more forethought than just being dominant. But this is the domination mindset. It's just hyper competitive, any advantage. And so what we saw was pretty ugly, in my opinion. I don't know if you saw it, but these guys were talking a lot of crap about each other's wives and girlfriends, and they're making jokes about their sexual preferences, and you know how it is, kind of the good old how men stereotypically behave, right? I think you have to be very careful because sometimes this can go legal. In fact, Craig Jones made a veiled threat that he had some sort of inside information about something that could harm Gordon Ryan legally, right? Which is like, do you guys really need to go there? Like, we're trying to build a business. And I understand it. People get heated, but, and it's sad because they were friends at one time. But like I said, it is hard once you get embroiled into these things and the bad blood. But it's not just Gordon Ryan. It's not just Craig Jones. We had Manny Pacquiao just won a huge legal battle over Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor has this booking agency, and a guy like Manny Pacquiao, you got to remember, even us old dudes, you got to remember to protect your legacy. You sometimes got to fight, and if you can't fight in the ring anymore, you might end up in the legal, in the court, right? So, in my opinion, Pacquiao didn't just win this lawsuit; he really was able to protect, from a business perspective, his brand's integrity, right? And I think this is super important. So one of the lessons I think in both Gordon Ryan and CJI, Craig Jones Invitational, is that 70% of businesses can lose their competitive edge, that thing that makes them win over the competition, due to some sort of reputational damage. So you want to make sure that you're remembering, and this is something, dude, I'm guilty of it. When I was young and brash and full of testosterone, I would just pick fights and cause problems and bank on being able to surf the controversy. But I'm just here to tell you, as a guy who's also been there and done that, it's not a great strategy. It really is not a great strategy. You have to remember that business is people. And yeah, you might be trying to go get somebody and going for the jugular or whatever, but I think that you have to be careful, right? Because you don't want to. Do you want to be a heel or you want to be a face in the parlance of professional wrestling? Well, I think in business you typically want to be a face. Sure, you want to play that stuff up in the characterizations and maybe to sell a fight, but in business You don't want to have a bad reputation, right? So if you guys have any particular ideas on this, I'd love to hear your perspectives on protecting, maintaining, reinforcing the integrity of your own personal brand. Excuse me. Now, speaking of this, as you can see, we went from Gordon Ryan and Craig Jones, Manny Pacquiao, Conor McGregor. Now let's go to an even different angle, and that is Donald Trump and this crazy, wild election that we're in. I mean, this is absolutely nuts. What's the guy? I mean, a presidential candidate, former president. There was a huge assassination. We don't even hear about it anymore. It's like crazy. I don't like Trump, but from what I've seen, there are more protesters outside the Democratic National Convention in Chicago that are actually inside. I saw some like Kamala Harris was on stage for like 3 minutes total, which is probably a good idea to limit her speaking time, because I'm gonna be honest with you, she doesn't even have the senility excuse that Biden has with regards to the dumb things that come out of his mouth, or the half formed thoughts, or the jibber jabber. She has no excuse. I'm not a fan of Kamala. I'm not a fan of Trump. But if it was that Hobson's choice where I had to pick one or the other, I would definitely pick Trump. I personally believe RFK is probably the best. Is he perfect? No. But they're super smart. And this is where, again, I think you could see the sharpness of Trump. Even though he's old, he realizes that RFK is incredibly popular. He just offered him a position in his cabinet if he gets elected. I think that's a no-brainer, right? I think if he got Tulsi Gabbard as well and offered her a position, this election would be done. Because Kamala got buried in her first run for presidency in 2020 by Tulsi Gabbard, who she definitely is using the government in retribution. She put Tulsi Gabbard on the terrorist watch list or something. It's absolutely awful. Absolutely like corruption. Anyway, Donald Trump is even chiming in on the fight game. At this point, in the middle of his thing, he was praising Dustin Poirier and even Islam Makhachev, right? So that can only help their brand. Now, I wanted to shift this a little bit because I want you to understand some of these athletes have a different kind of perspective, right? Olympian Ledsil Tebogo, everything, and now switch up going into farming. He was just in the Olympics, right? But these principles apply in a similar way, right? Like whether you're in the Olympics or whether you're farming or building a business, you've got to plant the seeds. Yeah, today's chore is tomorrow's meal, maybe, right? I was talking to a client the other day, and he was stuck. And I was like, listen, man, when's the best time to plant a tree? You heard that one? When's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's the second best time to plant a tree? Today. We've got to put in the work and have kind of a delayed gratification. We have to understand that it's going to take some time and effort and persistence for things to percolate. Last thing I wanted to touch on, then I got to get to some clients today, and I'd love to take your questions if anybody's got anything out there that they want to add. But did you hear about Andrew Tate? I guess his home got raided. I don't know if you heard about this. It's crazy. But again, here's a guy who is a combat athlete, made a lot of money, turned that money into more money, and is in a really nasty fight. Like, I think it's important for us to realize that this domination mindset, you've got to start expecting that you're going to upset the apple cart. Okay? I'm not saying that that's good or bad. I'm saying if you're going to do it, that's what you have to expect. Right? Now, interesting statistic, again, 60% of public figures who fail to manage controversies well effectively see a long-term decline in influence. Now, look at somebody like Donald Trump. Man, that guy surfs controversy like Kelly Slater or something. The guy is absolutely amazing. Anyway, I'd love to get your perspectives in the comments. What do you think is the best approach to handling controversy? Do you just sweep it under the rug? Do you go straight on? Do you try to spin it? Do you do the verbal judo and try to turn it to your advantage? Just love to get your perspectives, guys. Anyway, listen, that's a wrap for today. I do got to jump. I am absolutely booked. I've already seen like 6 clients today and I got 2 more to go. But I just wanted to stop by, let you guys know what's up. Some other news: I've been putting out a 5-part series on the history of scientific wrestling on YouTube. We just dropped episode 1 yesterday, called "The Birth of Catch as Catch Can." Today we're going to have one on the importance of Karl Gotch, the father of MMA. Stay tuned for that. You can check that on all the socials: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all of that. And as ever, if I can help you, man, I'm here. I do help businesses succeed. I've got incredible statistics. If you don't know about Grant Cardone and me being an elite business coach for him, in fact, the #1 coach right now, I'd be happy to talk to you about it, see if I can help you turn your business around. Grant ran, we're just wrapping up. We're actually getting ready to do another one. Grant did a 90-day challenge. Anybody that could get to $1 million, he'd give them $100,000 prize in 90 days. They had to get to $1 million. Well, I got a guy. One of my clients, we got him to $1 million, to make $1 million in 90 days. Very, very exciting. So anyway, guys, appreciate the hell out of you. If I can be of service, I am here for you, whether it be in business or grappling, in particular, catch as catch can.